It's a tale as old as time, light versus dark, yin versus yang. It's Destiny versus Warframe, guys, okay? That's what we're checking out. Loser gets teabagged in front of all their friends while everyone makes fun of them, alright? That's how it's going. Let's go ahead and jump right into this. What's going on, party people? It is your boy, Coop, and yes, we are checking out the oldest rivalry in gaming history. Back when there were cavemen fighting dinosaurs, back when Atari was figuring out how to bounce blocks off of little moving platforms, gamers were arguing Destiny versus Warframe. I understand there was no system to even run these games, and the developers had not even been born at this point, but it did not matter. Gamers were still arguing about which game was better. So some things we are going to be comparing and contrasting will be the mod system, playable characters, weapons, lore, in-game, or just game activities, and progression. Some very similar things were implemented in both games. However, Warframe, since it wasn't having to balance with PvP, since it wasn't having to bow down to its master over at Activision, it was able to really go in depth on some of these systems that Destiny tried to mimic, tried to implement, but just was not able to really pull it all the way off. Now, before I get into this, let me go ahead and say I play Destiny almost every day. I enjoy the game Destiny, but it's obvious that some of these categories seems like something they were getting from Warframe that they just weren't able to do quite as good. I think a lot of this has to do with PvP balancing. Most of it has to do with the fact that to balance PvP, you have to hollow out a lot of these other systems. Now, I like PvP in Destiny also, so I'm not saying that they should trade it. I'm just saying it really separates these two games. And if you're a PvE player, Warframe absolutely might be something that you should check out. So maybe after this video, you'll have a little more knowledge and information to make that decision for yourself. So, number one, mods, guys. Mods. In Destiny, the mods are basic, they are shallow, they are stupid, to say the least. In Destiny, this mod system they have gives you 5 extra points for your weapon. Oh my god, are you serious? 5 entire points? What is the purpose of this mod? Without the mod, the blue mod does the same thing as the purple mod, man. One just gives you more points. It's real dumb. So it doesn't increase your fire rate, it doesn't make you, do anything. It just gives you 5 extra points. Now I know you're like, Kip, there's the shoulder ones that make your grenades recharge faster. Yes, if you put it on your helmet, your arms, and your chest piece. So 3 of the 5 armor possibilities with your mods are used for grenades. You can get like a total of like 15 seconds. Oh my god. Seconds faster of grenade recharge rate. Now, the reason they have to keep the grenade recharge rate, the reason they have to keep your super recharge rate so low, again, for PvP balancing, because in the Crucible, if you're just using supers all the time, everybody's going to be angry, panties will be bunched, fits will be thrown. So, contrast that to Warframe. We have a robust, complex, and overall amazing mod system. And I'm not just trying to come over here and say all these good things about Warframe and how Destiny sucks. That's not the point. This is just a system that Warframe was able to implement so well. Look at all these mods, guys. This is thousands of mods, and every single one of them is different. It's not like I have 50 of the same health mod or a bunch of kinetic weapon mods like in Destiny. Every one of these mods is different. They all do something special for your character or your weapons. Of course, some mods can only go on specific weapons, and most mods go on all weapons, but there are a few weapon-specific mods, a few frame-specific mods. But overall, most of these mods are interchangeable. You can build your character for more health. You can build your weapons for more fire rate, for quicker reload, for more base damage, for more critical damage, for more status chance. You want to use more abilities, you can do that. But we'll get more into that in playable characters. So overall, the mod system inside of Warframe is very well thought out, very well executed, and is probably one of the best mod systems I've ever seen in this genre of game, which is MMO RPG light. And why is it light, guys? Because this is like the Atkins version of MMO RPGs, okay? It's like a diet. So, number 2, we got playable characters, also the Latin for characters playables. So, basically in Destiny, you have 3 classes. You have inside of those classes, or you have 3 characters. Each character has 3 classes, a solar, an arc, and a void class. They also have 2 subclasses inside of each of those classes, or a skill tree, if you will. Now the problem is, they nerfed that skill tree into the toilet when they released Destiny 2. You had maybe 30 plus perks that were customizable in Destiny 1 for these skill trees. You want your Titan to go a little faster, you want him to jump a certain way, you can customize all of that yourself. Wherein Destiny 2 decided, hey, this is a communist game, so we should just choose everything for everybody. Nobody wants to make all those decisions on their own. Let's give them our choices. And that's all they can use, is what we choose for them to have. So communism doesn't work in real life, and it certainly doesn't work in video games. People want to be able to choose what they want to do, guys. And I know it feels like I'm really going hard on Destiny right now, guys, but let's be honest, this is the case, and this is how pretty much everyone feels about it. Now, there are, the 3 or 4 dudes sitting there like, man, I really just wish someone would pick everything for me. They're the guys that when you say, hey, dude, what do you want to eat for lunch? Like, I don't care. What do you want to eat? And you're like, okay, I guess we'll have chicken. They're like, damn it, I really wanted steak. It's like, come on, bro, why did you just say so? So maybe that one guy wants Bungie to choose for them all of their stuff, okay? But most of us want the freedom of choice. Now, this freedom of choice is apparent in Warframe. Every character, and there are dozens of frames to choose from. Each one of these frames, maybe one's good at CC, maybe one's good at DPS, maybe one is good at just healing your teammates, maybe one is good at face tanking. There's a whole bunch of things, but even if you are a face tanker, maybe you don't want to build them for that. So you take away some of that health. You don't put on health mods, you don't put on armor mods. Instead, you put on efficiency mods, you put on power strength mods, so you can just be spamming your abilities left and right. You can build each character whatever way you want to. And also the customization for each character, the skins, the Tenogen, the helmets, the Cyandanas, all of the things that they have, the color palettes that you can swap between. You can customize every aspect of these characters, put on, half of an armor set on the feet, half an armor set on the arms, and not run a chest piece. You can put glyphs on your guys, kind of like gifts. I know they're regalias or however you pronounce that. But my point is, very customizable, very much about how the player wants to play in your particular play style. Something Destiny kind of said, no, you can only have 2 play styles with each of these subclasses, and if you don't fit in either one of those, you got to learn to work with it. Again, this was done for PvP balancing. I believe it's a hollower version of Destiny 1 system. So, number 3, we have weapons. Everyone knows that Bungie has great shooting, okay? They can make this really good. The problem is they have very bad depth. There are few choices, and most of them are reskins with different perks. This is just a fact. Every 450 round auto rifle in Destiny is the same weapon essentially. They just look slightly different from each other, and the perks are different. So Uriel's gift will always reign supreme until there's a better perk out there for a 450 round auto rifle. The reason none of the other 450 auto rifles are being used in the Crucible is because there's no reason to. Their perks are worse than the Uriel's gifts perks, and since the weapons are the same aside from the perks that they have on them, why would you choose anything else? So this is a huge difference from Warframe, where every weapon in that game is completely different, 100% different. You have far more choices, and you also still have the great overall shooting mechanics that you would want from that type of a game. Every weapon will be unique, every weapon will feel different, and they each have a variety of uses depending on the activity you're running. You want to keep hordes of enemies at bay, use something that chains lightning between their skulls when you shoot them in the face. Maybe you want a flamethrower that can just massively just decimate an entire area with status chance. You can do that too. Whatever you feel like doing, you can do, and every weapon will be different. And again, you can build these for different things. You want to apply more status more than damage, so why don't you go ahead and increase the fire rate and add more status chance? lower the overall base damage. You can absolutely do that. You want higher immediate, you want a bigger punch right off the bat, you know, you want a Mike Tyson weapon, go ahead, dude, equip that Tigress Prime, one shot whoever you want to, up until a certain point. Depending on what you're running, that could be a good choice, maybe not, depending on what you're running. Again, it's all about your playstyle, the activity you are running, and as you choose to build these weapons. And the fact that you can build every weapon differently really gives you a lot of choice. It makes every weapon have, you know, thousands of possibilities for different builds. So even though there's not, like, say, 50 different 450 auto rifles, imagine if Destiny just had one auto rifle and you could just swap out any perks you wanted on it on the fly. How cool would that be? It's a system similar to that, except for there's hundreds of weapons and there's thousands of mods. So number 4, guys, we have the lore. The Loruski, guys. The storytelling. In Destiny 1, we had the Grimweezy, the Grimoire, and wow, mom, wow. That storytelling was just completely epic. Wonderful, wonderful stories. The Book of Sorrows, crazy, dude. It's like dark. It's weird. It's entertaining. It's awesome. So, Destiny 2 decided, hey, let's get rid of the Grimoire. Don't get me wrong, the Grimoire was not well executed inside of the game. You couldn't even look at it in the game. You had to go to some other website. Half the kids, you know, ended up on Pornhub, I'm pretty sure. Either way, poor execution, but good storytelling. Either way. Now in Destiny 2, they said, we're going to solve that problem for everybody here, you know, you see, because we get to decide for all of you. So we'll just have a scannable. My God. Could the scannables been more stupid? No, they could not have. You go up to Mars, you find like a bench and you scan it, and your ghost tells you a story about how Cade once ate a peanut butter and jelly sandwich on that very bench. Ooh, wow, guys, wow. How impactful. What a powerful piece of storytelling that was. No, we don't want that nonsense, guys. We want the deep, rich, dark, crazy lore. Yeah, you know what? You can have a little bit of comic relief every now and again, but if the whole game is just comic relief, it makes it real stupid. So, the lore has been executed completely poorly in D2. In fact, they went so far as to say, folk your lore, guys. Folk your lore. That's what they said. The Grimoire is folklore, and what we put in these really dumb webcomics, that is actual lore. This pissed off the whole world, guys. The whole entire world, dude. That old man from Jurassic Park who never got angry, even when the dinosaurs were eating everybody, he was even mad at this, okay? Now, let's contrast that to Warframe's lore. The lore is just as deep, just as rich, just as crazy, as dark, and as violent. Even more so because they never, you know, ventured into the comic relief side. I mean, your ghost, or Ortist in this case, is a little bit of comic relief, but he's like the only place you are getting it. So there is an in-game codex in your ship where you can go, and this is a free-to-play game. So how Bungie with their millions and millions could not accomplish this, I don't know. But there's a codex in your ship, guys. In your ship, and you can simply go up to it and read about every enemy you've ever fought, every faction type, every weapon you've earned, every mod you've picked up. You can read the history, the lore, whatever information you want about the entire game. Look at every single quest and mission. That's what you can do in a free-to-play game, right there on your ship. I don't understand how it's so difficult for the best developers in the world, supposedly, to do this exact same thing. I mean, seriously, it's taken them 4 years to figure out how to delete a damn shader. It's a little bit out of control. So when it comes to lore implementation, 100% Warframe runs away with this one. Now, in closing, we are getting to activities in progression. Now, activities inside of Destiny are milestones, public spaces, also known as pubic spaces, strikes, raids, and the Nightfall. So, the way the progression works in Destiny is you have to reach a max power level, and then once you reach that max power level, you can start receiving max light gear. Now, usually a gear drops, you know, with a mod, about 2 to 3 points higher than your current overall light level, and this basically slows progression by doing it that way. The problem is, guys, it's stupid, okay? Everyone knows it's stupid. It's been stupid since day one. Like, why do you have these 2 different systems that you're leveling up? It doesn't really make sense, but whatever. You can kind of see why they're doing it. It's just so fast. The problem is, when content drops in Destiny, there's a 1 or 2 weeks, or however long it takes you, depending on how often you play, that you go out and level up your guy. And after you do that, it's like you're just done. There's just nothing to do. Unless you just really like, running the raids over and over to get the same weapon with the same perks, that really terrible armor. Dude, whoever's making the Titan armor, bro, this is not Kung Fu Panda, the video game. No one wants that Legend of the Drunken Fat Dude armor. No one wants that, okay? It's out of control. Worst Titan armor of all time. Hashtag worst Titan armor of all time. So, we will contrast this progression system to the one in Warframe. Warframe is not like that at all. The mods and the knowledge you have is what separates in-game veteran players from the new players. The new players won't have the mods really to gear up their character. Maybe they're playing with the exact same frame, but one guy has the mods on it so he can survive. He also has the knowledge of the faction groups he's fighting, how they interact, different element types that will affect them better. So it's just really knowledge. Now, of course, you unlock each planet as you go through them, so you have more diversity in Warframe. But there are vast amounts of planets with numerous destinations. And there are also tabs at the top of your screen that you will see that will have daily activities you can do. Something similar to a nightfall recurs every single day, and that's a 24-hour reset. There's also factions that you can level up all the time. It's not an arms week where you run in and out of a cave like 100 times, dude. No, this is something you can do over time, and it will take you a long time if you want to level up every faction. You can only do a certain amount at a time, because by pledging to one, it takes away rep from another, so then you have to work your way all the way back up whenever you switch factions. But they have meaningful rewards, good weapons, they have cosmetic items for your Warframes, they have mods that make your Warframes more powerful, Warframe specific mods actually, and this is the only place you can get those, is from these factions. So a lot of cool stuff with what they're doing with the factions over there. They give you daily grind. There's also your operator, aka the controller of your Warframe, who you can level up their void abilities. You can make them more powerful with their weapons that they use when you are not in transference with your Warframe. So there's just a whole lot of progression going on inside of Warframe. They do have master rank. So the more, every time you level up a weapon, every time you level up a Warframe, it gives you a little bit more mastery rank. I believe it's in the 20s, 26 right now is the top master rank you can get. I'm not 100% sure on that. Maybe I'm one off. I'm not more than that. But my point is, that kind of shows how long you've been in the game and what you've actually leveled up. So people who are at max mastery rank have usually leveled up every weapon and every frame in the entire game. So I'm like at 24, I believe. I stopped trying. Once I got to, that's back when mastery rank was 24, I wanted to go ahead and push it all the way to that point, which I did, and I got everything in the game. And then when some newer things came out, I just haven't decided, to go out and grind all of those. It's not because I'm not playing the game anymore. I have thousands of hours of gameplay inside of Warframe. It's just because I'll wait until I get a couple more levels, there's a couple more levels to grind for, and then I'll go ahead and do that push again, probably, unless there's something just really cool that I see. My point is, it's not like Destiny where a new content drops. If you want to stay up to date with it, you have to quickly go and grind out all that stuff in order to be relevant, in order to be competitive. In Warframe, it's more like the knowledge, the mods, that is what's going to make you competitive. That's what's going to make you an in-game player, not so much what your mastery rank level is. And that is a huge difference, which makes it far more inviting to new players to get into this. You don't have to worry like, oh, I can't play, Trials of Osiris with level advantages because I'm this light level. No, it's like, hey, I went and grinded out the things I needed to get the mods, so I'm competitive just like everyone else, guys. So these are the big things that I saw inside of Warframe and Destiny that are very comparable, but systems where Destiny just fell completely short, and that's because, like I said, PvP balancing, or Activision just wouldn't let them do it. There was a story about Destiny wanting to have your ships be something more similar to like they were in Warframe, where you could decorate the insides of them. Maybe there was a hub inside where you could change out your armor pieces and do whatever, kind of like the tower kiosks, so on and so forth. You could pull these up to the tower, your friends could check out your ships. I don't know what other abilities they were going to have. They even talked about space battles at some point. Basically, Activision said, no guys, you don't have the time to do that, so why don't y'all just go ahead and use this entire system you've been developing as a loading screen. And if you ever wonder why there's ships that seem like such an integral part of, and Ghost as well, like why are these even in the game? they do nothing. Like, they do nothing. Why did you spend time developing an entire slot on your character for something that does so little? Same thing with the mods. These were just systems they can't develop, it seems like, on the schedule they have. Maybe D3 will be different because that would be probably the last iteration. Maybe that's the one they want to keep going forever. I don't know. Maybe even D2 gets to a point where, you know, it really gets in depth with some of these systems. But what I'm assuming is they've kind of found the formula that they are going to stick with. Maybe do minor tweaks and changes. But I mean, seriously, an entire year, guys, to be able to delete a shader, that is crazy. That is so crazy. Like, when it takes you that long, man, not even comparing other aspects of your games to other games, you're just looking bad. So I would definitely recommend Destiny PvEers to try Warframe. Maybe you don't like third-person shooters. You still have ADS, aim down sights, and all that kind of stuff. It just makes more sense for Warframe because the movement is so fast. It is one of the most fast-paced games. It's actually really crazy going from Destiny 2 back to Warframe, back and forth between these two, because every time you go into Destiny, you're like, God, I am so slow. And that's also another thing that was caused by PvP balancing, right? They needed to make you a little slower so you know, makes the Crucible more fun. You can't have everybody running around like actual hardcore space ninjas, now can you? Anyways, guys, that is basically my overall thought process when looking at these two games. I would love to know what you guys think. Do you think I'm wrong here? I know there's going to be some Destiny people who are just mad. Guys, I am not trying to hate on Destiny, but I am simply stating the facts on these issues that Destiny has that Warframe has simply implemented far better. Not to mention the content that's coming out for Warframe, another huge open world map that it's dropping, and this is going to have giant spider bosses, dude, that are like skyscraper height spiders. How sick is this, okay? They already released the Plains of Eidolon for free, where you get to fight these giant, like, weird meshed up terrorist monsters. That's awesome. New factions of enemies like the Grenir Ghouls. All this, they reworked every weapon in the game. All of these things are just free content that all players are getting for 0 cents. So when players go out and they buy a Prime Access or something for Warframe just to support DE, even though they don't need it, I totally understand why, because this is a company that listens, that has weekly updates where they get on Twitch, they get on YouTube, and they talk to the community. They tell you everything's going on. They go into Reddit, and they're like, oh yeah, look, the community doesn't like this. Let's change it. That's why Warframe has one of the strongest communities, with a developer that seems to walk hand in hand with their community, and Bungie seems like they do things and hope the community just doesn't find out about them. And that is really the perceptions of each of these companies, and I'm not saying Bungie is evil and they're trying to do that, but I am saying that is the perception that they are giving off. And so a lot of people are far less trusting of Bungie than the Warframe community is of Digital Extremes. That is all, guys. I will be back later with another video. Hope you all enjoyed. If you like it, leave a like. If you didn't, then don't. It's that easy, y'all. Be sure to subscribe. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.